Right. In between me and the camera, I was just about to eat, and I realised that I couldn't not make the live. The reason is I've got sex on the brain. Not quite sex on the brain as you might imagine. What it is, my mental health goes through phases because I stalk my mental health in trying to overcome it, deal with it as a problem. And I stalk it, I really follow it. I don't have a choice. It forces me to partake, like, on a very active level. So I experience it anyway. And as I'm experiencing it, I notice themes and narratives that are playing out. As the story changes, there's always like a constant narrative. And normally it's about boosting my ego, and it's been half that today. But in addition, it's been about sex. My mental health wanted me to say it's better than the fighting storyline that you get. In other words, I'm fighting this person, I'm fighting that person, I'm fighting the other person. But that's still been there too. It's just been sex today. More forceful. And I just needed to make a live stream to just share my views, express myself. And where it changes narrative, storyline, it's easy to be viewed. It's easy to be viewed that it's like a different person coming on board. That's what it feels like. If everything is so different, it might as well be like a different person talking to you, and you've got to listen to them in a different way. And sometimes, a lot of the time, when I talk about it, I reference as if somebody's there, and that's why. Ultimately, I don't know why, but today I that maybe as a species we're under a lot of mind control, and or as a result of our behaviour on a daily basis, what we're all thinking about, oh, it's Friday, let's go home after work, let's get dressed, let's go out, and or Friday's the special night of the week. I worked all week. Really, and it's the weekend. I'm gonna have sex with my partner. I don't know. I sit here in front of you and openly admit I claim to be a virgin. I've never made love. And that's just the way it is for me. My mental health has been the problem, and that's been my life. That's my issues. But the other idea is that we're all thinking about sex. And if you understand the body, and you understand how much energy the mind takes, and I can half imagine the jobs some people have to do. You know, they're thinking about that one enjoyment they get all week, Friday night, make love to your partner, go out. It's understandable. And given the idea of work, that you're working all week, you could say, I have the luxury of not working, depending upon how you look at that. But I remember work very well. So my mind goes to work, and I don't have that experience of knowing sex. So that was never really the finality in any thoughts. I didn't often go out whilst I was working either. You know, on a Friday night, Friday day, how if you've got plans for the night and that likely ends in sex for you, you're going to be thinking about that final climax. Whereas me, it went as far as going out with a possibility. So it wasn't really as full on. I wasn't really thinking about, right, who am I going to try and pull tonight and all of this. I was like, well, can I get a dance? Most of the time, a lot of the time, in fact, I don't remember a time I got a dance. I'm sure I did. Either way, that's my situation again, that's my problem, but the mind, the brain, expends a lot of energy, more energy than the rest of the body. And if this is our culture where we work Monday to Friday, and as I said, it's very believable, you know. Most people, Friday night, I guess I'd be a bit like that. Go home and make love to your partner. You got London here, I'm surrounded by 7 people. And the ones that use their mind are the adults. If you remember your mind at school when you were trying to think, it's not the same brain power we're putting out as adults. And you've got 8 million people on your doorstep. So what's that in adult working population? Let's have a guess. Let's just say 50%. 4 million people. Let's say 1 million are unemployed for whatever reason, or aren't doing jobs they really have. Well, that's the problem. You're doing a job you're not really having to think about. You can think about other things. We're very much a service culture here in the UK. We don't have a big industry. Doesn't take a lot to zone out, to putting a smile on your face and being the absolute best customer service agent, or worst, if that's your cup of tea. I remember it very well. You get a lot of time to think because you just know your job. What are we thinking about? Am I picking up 4 million people's thoughts as mass, energetic, you know, beacons almost coming out of their bodies? Because if you look at the people and if you understand the training that has come from my uncle, I'm not healthy at the moment. My body's very ill, but it looks muscular, doesn't it? If I just did a little bit of exercise, I could get real into shape, what's considered shape. That's not my cup of tea. My cup of tea is health for exercise now. Once upon a time, it was about looking good. But you've got 4 million people that predominantly aren't in their bodies. Even if you look, I mean, weightlifters like Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah, he looked like he was in his body, and to a certain extent he was. More than, well, I don't know about this because I'm constantly trying to put it into check. But a lot more than somebody who's skinny, somebody who's unhealthy, not eating the right food. Of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger's far more in his body. But are we in our bodies to contain our energy so we can live and vibrate the correct frequency for enlightenment? No. Our bodies are all broken. This is my perception. And it's a horrible perception to live. I feel the pain of other people, and the pain they don't know. Just by seeing their bodies and how they've been conditioned over the decades, the years, as they roll past, and the body loses health. The pain is there. The pain is in their body, but it's come at them in such a slow pace. They're able to almost train. It's like training over years, and you hold that pain. And it's like nothing. You relax with that pain. But if we know proper alignment and health and posture, that's what the crux is. And obviously that's got to be held up by the rest. My uncle emphasised the tendons in the body. But I share that in the hope that I've got some to look good and thinking, actually, you know what, I should be focusing on my health. You know, just that simple mental realisation. To say to them, actually, no, forget big muscles. That health. So in that sense, just your tendons, focus on your tendons. Be healthy to your tendons. It's a direction forward for you, that's all. It's not the end where you... But we're not able to hold the energy that we're putting out within our bodies. You go to somewhere spiritual and senses everything. It tries to become one. And where the mind goes out and tries to be considerate, because you're not going to be a bastard in the spiritual setting, are you? That's just not the energy. And you become the energy, the shared energy, and very quickly you feel the space. It's like if, for many, I don't know, I've not been to other places of worship. And it's not often like that in the Greek Orthodox tradition. There's like smoke everywhere. There's incense, and everybody just doesn't want to be there. And or they're just waiting to go and get the piece of bread and wine so their sins can be removed. They've had to miss breakfast that morning. They're hungry. They're not able to focus. But I've been into mosques, and I know little bits of the Hindu tradition from afar. I know the Buddhist tradition, part in a meditation, but also at a distance, just knowing it from what it teaches. And, you know, with Buddhism, it's almost synergistic with meditation. So again, it's the same thing. It's likely in a Jewish temple, and all the religions continue down. For whatever reason, the Greek Orthodox want to keep it very impersonal, and that doesn't really allow. It's very dark and black, and maybe it affects you on a different level. Either way, what I'm trying to say is when you go into a spiritual space, a religious space, a holy space, and you're there for the right reasons, you get an energy of the place, and it's very, very different from anywhere else you go. You can almost feel like a cleanliness over the human body. It's almost like all the hair is removed from everybody, and everybody's just like, well, not naked underneath, because you don't see that. You don't see the body. But just like naked in appearance, and you just see like the the outline. And that's how a lot of people begin to see energy, being in the right energy. But we're not like that, a lot of us, out of that 4 million. Maybe 5-10%. Maybe more. Maybe I don't give everybody credit enough. But it's not likely, that's what I mean to say. And I don't know. So we take the most honest guess at the situation, say it's not likely that it's more than 5 or 10%. We're not trying to cheat ourselves. We're not trying to cheat others. Either way, you're sort of down to about 3.5 million that aren't really able to contain the thoughts in their head. And if you're able to contain the thoughts in your head anyway, you're not really going to be thinking about sex all the time. So say we've overestimated a little bit, so we can go down to 3 million, 2.5 million. Can you imagine an energetic network? Out of that 300 million, let's say 50%, because men are the ones who are meant to think about sex all the time. So out of that 3 million, we go to 1.5 million. Did we already deduct for that 20%? So let's take that 5-10%, let's say 20% for other people. No, let's make it 30-40%. Just so out of that 1.5 million, 60%, which is, sorry, my brain's gone dead. 60%, 7.8. So I believe that's 718,000. All working, so that everybody's putting out not energy just from the mind, but from the body. And they're thinking about sex. I'm pretty sure we've overestimated. It's more like 100,000, but with sex, you're tapping into a specific, very, very strong energy. It's not like thinking about going for a walk. Think about the different energies. When you think about that, you tune into the energy. David Beckham became so good at his free kicks because he visualized beforehand scoring the free kick. It puts out an energy. David Beckham was training even when he wasn't training. He trained every time he went and took a free kick. The mind puts out an energy. He went and practiced every single time. Oh, well, the ball's here. It's in a different position. That's the defence. Let's just have a 2-minute practice. How many times is he going to score that free kick in his mind in 2 minutes? He's practiced. Not every footballer practices. So you've got 100,000 people, just say, really putting out an energy about sex. It must be so powerful when you're making love to really feel that energy. Forget all this world. Take nature back to nature. It's like the most purest thing you're doing. What chance do you have of raising that amount of energy lifting weights at a gym? Doing any real form of exercise, because it's all come from our minds. A concept, we're denatured from the start. You want to stand, practice, fine, but it's denatured. What are you just standing there for? Is it because life has taught you you have the space and the means to just stop and become? Or was it because you were taught? Where did that teaching come from? Why are you doing it? It corrupts life. Sex is like one of the most powerful things we can do as human beings. Giving birth, I'm sure, is another. I won't experience that, luckily. And maybe that's the reason. Or maybe it's HAARP, mind control. Let's put out the narratives, fighting and sex. Let's control the species, divide and rule. Here, take the most. What gold for? What are you doing anything for? It's the energy, it's how it feels, it's what it gives you. What can you get in life more than sex? Love? Possibly, over time. But one single thing, possession, it's like a possession. Possessions are, I go to the shop and I buy this, I own it, and it's mine. You go and have sex, that energy is yours. There's nothing you can really separate sex from possessions in that sense. Because buying is not natural, is it? What are you ever going to own when you live by nature? Oh, that stool you just made out of a tree. Oh, the wood of the tree broke. Oh, is it my stool broke or is it the tree run its course? What more can you own by nature than sex? The experience of your past. Maybe, you know, we'll control them with the most important thing that their body craves, their mind craves, their soul craves. And they're just constantly pumping out frequencies. God knows if it's coming over 5G or not. Constantly popping out frequencies of sex. Oh, they've had too much sex, they're getting a bit too lovey. Let's change the frequency to fighting. Divide and rule. If your body craves something, it's natural. But if it's constantly coming from outside, you're denatured. You're weakened. We can't deny it. I mean, you did that spiritual practice to really calm your desire for sex. So that, you know, from whatever was put in front of you, you'd feel attraction. You wouldn't feel attraction, sorry. And that's what my mental health has been for a solid 3 years. So maybe it was 4G. I joke. But it's possible. 2018. So what's that? 18, 19, 20, 21. And it's the 5th year. Solid. It's just like boosting ego, divide. Sex, divide. Fighting, divide. Really, really strange. But I think I've got everything off my chest. Hopefully that's calmed down the program. Or my response to the program. So that I can eat my dinner. Hope you've enjoyed today's perception on mental health narratives. It's the weekend. Have a good time.